The fast food industry has been growing a lot over the years. It was firstly incorporated in the United States in 1950s, and by 2018, more than 247,000 fast food establishments are forecasted. Also, in America, the fast food industry employs more than 4 million workers in total. This presentation will first of all focus on McDonald's unethical behavior towards employees. Then second of all, will focus on the ethics of McDonald's behavior towards animals. Then Eric will focus on the unethical behavior in advertisement for the company's product. And then last of all, Juan will focus on the unethical behavior towards the environment. I will focus on McDonald's unethical behavior towards employees. But first of all, I will give a historic background about McDonald's. They have the biggest US system-wide sales, and even though Subway has more restaurants than McDonald's, they actually have the largest revenue of all chains with a total sales of 35.4 billion as by 2014. In 2016, a study shows that 79% of all Americans visited a McDonald's in that year, and it was founded in 1955 by Ray Kroc. And according to their own website, the philosophy of McDonald's is based on three parts. First of all, the McDonald's franchise, then the suppliers, and second of all, their employees. Now, the unethical issue I've been focused on is the McDonald's um, unfair labor conditions and low pay towards employees. In general, the whole fast food industry has had a reputation for unethical issues towards employees. A report actually shows that 86.5% of workers in the fast food industry do not earn a livable wage. The whole problem concerning McDonald's is their unfair labor conditions and low pay towards employees, which actually have had some legal consequences. As a result, a lawsuit was filed by several employees in Northern California. Their labor laws were violated, and they felt like McDonald's failed to pay overtime, minimum wage, and misrecording time records. Another issue is also that the corporation has made it possible for the employees to unionize. And they have actually denied the power to increase the salaries. The reason for that is that they believe that the franchisor, the whole McDonald's corporation, is not accountable for the small franchises, the individual McDonald's locating operators. And as an entire, the corporation has actually shown a lot of resistance towards increasing employees' wages over the years. And even though they're aware that the salaries are not enough to cover their expenses, they really don't do anything about it, which is very problematic. Also face a lot of financial consequences. In 2016, the Brazilian unit, as I just mentioned, of McDonald's was fined $30 million for labor law violations. Um, this also had an impact on employees as the wage, as they were promised, did not increase more than $1 per hour, which is really not a lot. Um, Also, a social consequence of all this unethical behavior is that a UK website has ranked the top 10 fast food chains to work in, and McDonald's is actually ranked bottom of that list. The list was based on employee satisfaction ratings, and in relation to that, Subway was actually also ranked as the corporation that has the worst employee treatment, um, which is actually funny because they're same part of the same franchise model as McDonald's. Also, another company that has faced some legal issues is Carl's Jr. As by 2017, they were fined $1.5 million because they were underpaying minimum wage earning employees. Opposite McDonald's and Subway, the work environment at In-N-Out Burger are actually more different. They have the highest salary. They offer extensive health, dental benefits for both part and full time. They offer paid vacation, sick time, and opportunities for promotion for all employees. A solution for all of this would be to give the employees more credit. By raising the wages, it would be an indication for the McDonald's corporation that they actually appreciate their employees more than they are showing right now. Um, I myself have been I have been an employee at McDonald's for 3 years, and I know how much the job actually requires physically and mentally. It's a very stressful job, and you have to work at not the most convenient hours. And I've also felt like by my managers and bosses that my job and what I did wasn't appreciated. So I could relate to what the workers in America are feeling right now by not getting paid what they believe is right. And by showing that they actually care about employees, I think it would have a positive effect on McDonald's, not only legally because they wouldn't be facing that many lawsuits as they are right now, um, but it would also have a financial benefit as they would save a lot of money by not getting fines and lawsuits all the time. But I think all of this just shows that it's just not McDonald's, but several fast food chains that are actually behaving unethically towards employees. And in the future, to make this stop, they have to show a lot more respect and appreciation towards employees, um, because I think it would I think it would have a very significant, um, it would be more beneficial not only for the employees but also for the corporation in total. Next up, we'll talk about the ethics of McDonald's behavior towards animals.
McDonald's supply chain. The animals that are actually being mistreated are from companies such as Lopez Foods and Marfrig Global Foods. When you go to the McDonald's official website, you'll notice that Marfrig Foods The animals that are mistreated are usually injected with some sort of growth hormone that causes them to become larger than usual. This causes an animal such as a chicken to be able to take a few steps and then it will be exhausted because of the amount of weight that it's carrying. When it comes time to gather the chickens for slaughter, the employees actually use a weapon that's similar to a hook, where it's a piece of PVC pipe with a nail sticking out of it, and what they do is that they hit the chicken and they pick it up and put it into a bucket. Another common practice for gathering of chickens is to actually grab the chicken and break its neck and then put it into a bucket. As well as when the chicken's still alive, they might put it onto a meat hook and then feather it and cut it to pieces while it's still alive, so it ends up dying from its own wounds. Other times the animals are put into a giant compactor and then crushed. There's actually been quite a few films made about this topic. A few of these films include Fast Food Nation, Food Inc., and also Okja. Okja was probably the most relevant movie, considering that it talks about the genetic modification of animals, as well as the ethics behind the breeding and manufacturing of an animal just for it to be slaughtered, as well as how it's slaughtered and how it's grown.
Hello, my name is Eric Aguilar, and I will be discussing unethical behavior in advertisement, mainly advertisement towards children and how McDonald's lures children from a small age to consume products with various unethical tactics, all for the self-benefit of the company, regardless of consumer health risks. One strategy that they use would be cartoon characters and icons such as Ronald McDonald. The face of McDonald's is a symbol of the corporation's dedication to reaching a younger consumer-based audience. A study of 9 to 10-year-olds of Australian youth demonstrated that more than half believed that Ronald McDonald knew what was best for them to eat. This shows how big of an impact McDonald's has had on today's youth. The second strategy is the restaurant design. They provide an atmosphere, a family friendly one, through the use of playgrounds. And McDonald's operates more than 80,000 playgrounds around the United States, more than any other private American corporation. These playgrounds provide an environment that is designed to appeal to children through bright colors, toys, and clowns, and also to parents by providing a safe place for their children to play, all the while consuming McDonald's products in the process. The third strategy is toys and entertainment, which began in 1979. McDonald's launched its first Happy Meal, which included numerous toys. This directly appealed to children through cartoon characters, catchy jingles, and the way the food is shaped and colored. By 2003, 20% of McDonald's meals sold were Happy Meals, and they accounted for 3.5 billion in revenues. They stand as one of the United States' largest distributors of toys. Due to lack of ethics, there has been some consequences, and one such is financial. Due to the methods of advertising, McDonald's has economic growth, and according to the 2006 annual report, McDonald's is the leading global food service retailer with more than 30,000 local restaurants serving 52 million people in more than 100 countries each day. Their revenue reaches up to 21.6 billion, up 16% from 2004 due to these methods. Now, they also suffer legal consequences. One example is lawsuits. A mother of two in Sacramento, Monette Param, and the Center for Science in the Public Interest filed a lawsuit against McDonald's Corporation, alleging that its practice of giving toys with children's meals is deceptive to children, claiming that the Happy Meal toys constitute a method of avoiding parental control and teach children unhealthy eating. They accuse the company of false advertising and alleges that McDonald's exploits very young children and harms their health by advertising unhealthy Happy Meals with toys directly to them. Children ages 8 years old and younger do not have the cognitive skills and development maturity to understand the persuasive intent of marketing and advertising. Some social consequences would be that McDonald's does not care about long-term damages its practice has on its consumers, and one prime example is in an article. Children who see Happy Meal advertising put burger and fries before healthy choice. But The Guardian states that TV ads for McDonald's healthier Happy Meal deals fail to encourage children to choose food that is better for them and instead promote a general preference for fast food. Meaning McDonald's ads may be leading children to avoid healthy food and replace it with fast food options at an early age, increasing health risks down the line. And according to an International Journal of Behavioral Nutrition and Physical Activity, eating behaviors established during childhood track into adulthood and contribute to long-term health and chronic disease risk, leading to a growth in epidemic of childhood overweight and obesity, which is a major public health concern. Currently, there are 15% of U.S. youth are overweight, nearly twice as high in children and 3 times as high in adolescents compared to 1980 health rates. Almost 2/3, 60% of overweight children have at least one cardiovascular risk factor, and the risk of type 2 diabetes is increasing in youth. These trends may seriously compromise the future health and productivity of the U.S. population and add to healthcare costs. Now, speaking from personal experience, I remember my first time being overwhelmed when I went to McDonald's. I was overwhelmed by the toys that they had on display as well as the playground, and I knew that I was more so into what McDonald's had to offer than their food. I know that McDonald's drew to my liking, and that is a strategy which they continue to play at even once you reach adulthood. I see myself being drawn by the deals and the promotions that they offer, such as the 2-pick for $5 meals, as well as the any size cup of soda and coffee promotions. They still somehow include marketing strategies that are directed to consumers. No matter the age, the practice is still the same. Some solutions we can do to prevent some of these negative factors would be eliminating all marketing and advertising of junk food and fast food for children and youth. We could urge our government to restrict or ban all food advertisements to children and prohibit the marketing of soda, junk, and fast foods in schools. Lastly, try to move our children to a better diet and limit the amount of exposure to such ads so influence is not obtained at an early age and our health is not put as well at risk. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Juan Martinez. I will be talking about unethical practices of the fast food industry against the environment. Factory farms are keen on keeping production levels as high as possible to keep meat costs as low as possible. A huge part of this meat enters the fast food industry to feed an increasing amount of American hamburger eaters. Fast food is readily available at an extremely low cost, but as this cheap food benefits our wallet, it has an enormous cost towards the environment. United Nations study found that livestock that is used for fast food industry amounts for 18% of all greenhouse gases. To compare, that is more than all transportation combined. That includes cars, trucks, airplanes, all of it. This is only for factory farms. The beef still has to be transported to individual fast food stores, which continue to emit carbon dioxide and continue to add to the trail of the fast food industry greenhouse gases. The fast food industry also poses a major threat to the most crucial natural resource of all, which is water. In recent years, there has been an extreme shortage of usable water and drought, and the United States is quickly running out of water. The United States is using water faster than it can be restored to keep the fast food industry fully stocked. In order to keep with the demand of beef for fast food industries, uh, factory farms have to feed their livestock vast quantity of crops to take that take up an enormous amount of water. In the United States, crop irrigation amounts for over 80% of consumption of use of fresh water, and is steadily increasing. The amount of water to feed cows are also larger than to irrigate crops. Fresh water has to cross miles and miles in pipelines from Great Lakes to keep up with the demand of beef for fast food industries. Which brings me to my next point, which is pollution of fast food packaging. In past decades, the United States is producing and consuming at an increasing rate, which leads to large amounts of solid waste. More specifically, a lot of this waste comes from fast food packaging. Many Americans are increasingly eating out compared to past decades. That adds up to massive amounts of burger wrappers, fries containers, ketchup packets, and other fast food packaging waste. Many of this fast food packaging ends up as street litter, ends up as waste in a landfill, or pollution in our oceans. A study done by the La Perkenda University of Technology shows that a projected recoverable rate of fast food packaging is predicted very high, at almost 80%, but the actual recovery rate is as low as 29%. The fast food industry is a multi-million-dollar industry, and they provide these cheap and disposable utensils that add to our street pollution. The fast food industry focuses on what benefits them the most and profits the most, and its cheap inputs. Fast food industries such as McDonald's did not take into consideration whether disposable packaging and utensils would end up, but chose the option of what saved the most money. I do recognize that many of these companies are trying to do their part by producing the most recyclable and biodegradable content, but it's still not enough. If we want to make an impact on the environment as individuals, we have to make and buy longer lasting and reusable items. The fast food industry needs to do the same. They need to provide their customers with most sustainable packaging and utensils that will last for years and not just one meal. Starbucks is integrating a 100% biodegradable paper cup and is also providing with customers with recycling bins. A great alternative for this problem is GoBox. GoBox is a reusable takeout container service. Instead of receiving their food in paper, plastic, or styrofoam cups that for one-time use, GoBox uses reusable take-on containers as alternatives. That's when customers receive their meals, they receive it in a GoBox. Once customers are done, they return their containers to designated areas. These containers are washed and sanitized and returned to vendors all by bicycle.